Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 239 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. All right, let's get started. All right, let's get into our meditation routine to start. I will see you guys on the other side. All righty. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Liz. Happy belated birthday, by the way. Man, I'm sure. How does it feel? You're getting older every day. That's awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. And yes, happy birthday. Auntie Louisa, good morning. Brandon, good morning. All right, so let's get into our reading routine. And I will see you guys on the other side. Oh. Okay. So we just finished our reading routine, and now we're going to get into our journaling routine. So in our journaling routine, I usually like to start off by writing about what I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that is, I'm grateful for waking up and being in perfect health. And then I go on to show my respects to yesterday's activities and experiences I may have had, just being in a state of gratitude for those. And then anything I wish to manifest for myself in the future, I go ahead and write about those also. If you have any questions about how it works, let me know. And I will see you guys on the other side. Okay. So today, we don't have too much to talk about. The material is getting pretty dense, but pretty much what the book suggests today is for us to have a conversation or ask ourselves the question: what is our relationship with the present moment? To live in the future or to live in the past means to accept time and to live or plan or in preparation of experiences or moments to come or that have passed. To attach to either one of those outcomes is an ego driven activity or ego driven process. So, what this section of this chapter of the book is, which is finding who you truly are, is what it's suggesting is that you specifically focus on the now. When you specifically focus on the now, then you are not attached to the past. The past is no longer affecting you, and you're not so attached to the future that your ego is being fed in that direction either. So, a vital question to frequently ask yourself is, what is my relationship with the present moment? Then become alert to find out the answer. Am I treating the now as no more than a means to an end? Am I treating the now as no more than a means to an end? It's a good question. Do I see it as an obstacle? Am I making it into an enemy? Since the present moment is all you ever have, since life is inseparable from the now, what the question really means is, what is my relationship with life? This question is an excellent way of unmasking the ego if you the ego in you and bringing you into a state of presence. Although the question doesn't embody the absolute truth, ultimately, I and the present moment are one. It is a useful pointer in the right direction. Ask yourself, ask yourself this often until you don't need it anymore. How do you go beyond a dysfunctional relationship with the present moment, which may be like conflicted with things from the past, your ambitions to be better, corrupting you right now in this moment, right? Oh, I wish I was better. I wish I had to achieve this already. I wish this, I wish that. So instead of living in the future and creating conflict within in the present moment, and then or bringing a conflict from the past into the present moment, just focus on being in the now. The paradox of time. Even past or future moments only exist when you remember or anticipate them. And you do so by thinking about them in the moment there is this one. So, my point exactly, right? Or what the book is saying exactly, just piecing the puzzles together, the puzzle together. So, on the other hand, or excuse me, on the one hand, because this whole concept can be paradoxical. On the one hand, on the one hand, how can we deny the reality of time? This section of the chapter is called the paradox of time. You needed to go from here to there to prepare a meal, build a house, read this book. You need to grow up and learn new things. Whatever you do seems to take time. Everything is subject to it, and eventually, this bloody tyrant time, as Shakespeare calls it, is going to kill you. You can compare it to a raging river that drags you along with it, or a fire in which everything is consumed. So we need time, right? So again, this is just a little bit more complex way of thinking of things. We need time to get from A to B to show progression. So just from reading this book, or even an easier example, being on the journey to greatness, we can look at day one and we can look at day 238. Everything that we've done from day 1 to 238 has built us to this moment. However, we're not connected. We have transcended past every second and every day of time that has came behind us, or that is behind us before this moment. Everything that is to be, which is the future 365, let's say, right, the end, all of those, all that's also a relevancy of time, but from a futuristic perspective. Now, the the part, so that's inevitable, right? We know that, we can see it on the scale, we understand that. But the next thing, take it to the next level, the next complex level of thinking, is to say none of those matter. Those are not the areas of focus. The areas of focus are going to be right now. That's the level where it takes you to, that's the next level of thinking. So what does this mean to us, right? Everything seems to be subject to time, yet it all happens in the now. This is the paradox. Whenever you look, there is plenty of circumstantial evidence for the reality of time. A rotting apple, your face in the bathroom mirror compared to your face in a photo 30 years ago. Yet you never find direct evidence. You never experience time itself. You only ever experience the present moment, or rather, what happens in it. If you go by direct evidence only, then there is no time. And the now is all there ever is. If you go by direct evidence only, it's interesting. A rotting apple, your face in the bathroom mirror compared to your face in the photo. Yeah, you never find direct evidence. It's very interesting. I'm not too sure if I can even summarize that part. So we'll continue. Eliminating time. You cannot make the egoless state into a future goal, and then work toward it. All you get is more dissatisfaction, more inner conflict, because it will always seem that you have not arrived yet, have not attained that state yet. When freedom from ego is your goal for the future, you give yourself more time, and more time means more ego. Giving yourself more time is precisely this: giving yourself more time. Yourself more time. Time, that is to say, past and future, is what the false mind is what the false mind made self, the ego, lives on. And time is in your mind. It isn't something that has objective existence out there. It is a mind structure needed for sensory perception, indispensable for practical purposes, but the greatest hindrance to knowing yourself. Time is the horizontal dimension of life, the surface layer of reality. Then there is the vertical dimension of depth, accessible to you only through the portal of the present moment. So instead of adding time to yourself, remove time. The elimination of time from your consciousness is the elimination of ego. It is the only true spiritual practice. When we speak of elimination of time, we are, of course, not referring to the clock time, which is the use of time for practical purposes, such as an appointment or planning a trip. It would be almost impossible to function in this world without clock time. What we are speaking of is the elimination of psychological time, which is the egoic mind's and endless preoccupation with past and future and its unwillingness to be one with life. By living in alignment with the inevitable isness of the present moment. So when we're saying eliminating time, or when the author is saying eliminating time, we're not talking about tick-tock on the clock or on the wall. We're talking about the psychological perception of time. Okay, let's read on. Whenever habitual no to life turns into a yes, whenever you allow this moment to be as it is, you dissolve time as well as ego. Okay. For the ego to survive, it must make time, past and future, more important than the present moment. The ego cannot tolerate becoming friendly with the present moment, except briefly, just after it got what it wanted. but nothing can satisfy the ego for long, which makes sense. I read that earlier, and I thought to myself, I said, oh, okay, so there's two states of ego, either a happy ego that gets what it wants, or a not so happy ego that doesn't get what it wants, which makes sense. If I am in the demeaning personality business, right, or people business, and I demean somebody, or I have a demeaning manner towards somebody, and my pride flares up, and I boss them, right? I boss on them somehow, some way. My ego is then now satisfied because I got what I wanted. I wanted that person to be lower than me. I wanted that person to be less exceptional than me. On the flip side, if somebody, let's say on the flip side, somebody was in the demeaning business and they demeaned me, and I felt that they were demeaning me, and my pride flared up, but I didn't respond, and I was just offended or beaten down, then my ego would also win because it didn't get what it wanted, which was to, stand up against this person or this energy that was defeating, right? So you get beaten to a corner, or you are highly successful at, you know, pretty much stroking your pride. And so um, to segue that into this concept or this discussion now is to say the ego tries to make up these fictional ideas, or these excuse me, the ego tries to create a fictional reality. It's a mind-made reality, to live in the future and live in the past. So to be aligned with the one's present moment, I think the best way for me to describe it, because I've experienced it and I do my best to live in that moment every single day, is to every emotion, everything that you feel, is just to see that it's there and not to combat it. To be a friend to it or to shine a light on it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are, that's who you have become. Um, Being present in the moment means to not designate good or bad to whatever it is you may be experiencing. When you have that state of mind, and you're in between these two intense forces of energy, and it almost seems like you're like Jesus walking on water, and like the water is like flaring up, and there's just a silk road that is leading down the path to your truest enlightenment, because the force is so strong. We've lived in this unconscious reality, or this surface level reality of saying, yes, our future is what defines us, or our ambitions are our vision, and then our past obviously defines us, at who we are in this present now. But the thing is because we're so powerful, and at any second we can change our reality, and we could change our thought process, we could change our mindset. When you live in that present now, it's almost like you're just in a spiritual space and you feel protected. There's nothing that can really like hit you off course. And I mean, that's just, hopefully that can give like some type of visualization, or maybe even an emotional connection of what that's going to feel like when you hit that that milestone. So when we speak the elimination of time, we are of course not referring to the clock time. We talked about that. And so to finish up here, when you react against the form that life takes at this moment, when you treat the now as a means, an obstacle, or an enemy, you strengthen your own form of you strengthen your own form identity, the ego. Hence, the ego's reactivity. What is reactivity? Becoming addicted to the reaction. So that's a huge one. For somebody who says, "Oh, I've always been this way. This has always been my story. This is what I go through on a daily. This is what it's influenced me to get to where I am, etc., 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 etc." That story you could become addicted to. So it's important to be mindful of the story that you tell, because not only are you inviting that continuous story, that story to continuously projecting the reality that you're experiencing, more sickness, more people around you that you can't trust, more or less opportunity. On the flip side, having a successful or a winner's mentality is what they call it, right? If you think that you are the greatest, if you know that you are the greatest and you think that you are the greatest, um, and you exercise the gratitude aspect of life, which is being grateful for the now, and feeling, feeling filled, even before you've reached, or before the actual reality where you have something physical in front of you, the tangible reality. You already know that all that is to come, but you're just playing. You're just participating in this game of patience, of consistent growth, and inevitability, right? So you don't want to become addicted to the great things in life, right? To be a caregiver of life, to be the person who is light, to give people opportunity, even though they may see it as a weakness. Your constant love, your constant uplifting, your constant support. We need those type of people in this world, and whether be it enlightened people or just people who just love, and that's just who they are, right? um for whatever reason, and they just love genuinely, enlightened or living unconsciously or not. We need those people to help, I think, make the world a better place. So um we have to be mindful of how we react and what we're reacting to, and our addictive nature, which is ego, to attach or latch on to certain reactions. The more reactive you are, the more entangled you become with form. The more identified with form, the stronger the ego. Your being then does not shine through form anymore, only barely. So in other words, your actual natural being of who you are barely shines through. And we want our lights to shine as bright as possible so we can act as beacons in the world, and beacons to the people that live within our community and in our space through non-resistance to form. um, that in which is beyond form emerges as all-encompassing presence, a silent power far greater than your short-lived form identity, the person. It is more deeply who you are than anything in the world of form. So to live in this state of presence and to live in this state of now allows you to tap into a higher self, a higher form, a deeper form, um, and it's a spiritual form rather than anything else that you can attach yourself to. It's more of an energetic space, I guess, is the only way I can really explain it. I mean, you have to kind of experience it to know, but I can tell everyone that the more and more you yearn for more, and the more and more you search to satisfy your curiosity of what it is to be enlightened and what it is to be awakened and live a conscious life, the blessings and the feelings will continue to come, so long as you continue building the picture in your mind and using words of other people. Exactly what we're doing, using the words of other people and experiences of other people to help define those feelings that you may have inside. And it's truly an amazing come to when that time happens. So please feel free to repeat after me. This is my life. I am aware. I take full responsibility for my reality and thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life, a life of wealth, love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived. And so it is. Check in daily with yourself. Make sure you are doing all right. Check in daily with yourself. Create direction. Live in the now. Understand that your past does not define you, or does not have to be your story. And understand how powerful you really are, in creating the life that you are destined to live. I encourage everybody to take a moment today and just listen to yourself. Give yourself a pep talk and come into a state of knowingness that you are truly one of the greatest gifts to earth, and that your smile and that your kind gesture today can help brighten the world and make it a better place, even if it's to impact one person or to impact two people. Buy somebody a coffee today. Buy somebody lunch today, or buy somebody a pack of gum. Find a way to make somebody smile today. And even if they don't smile, when you try to perform a nice gesture, just energetically receive them and send them off with love. So everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Day 239 of 365. Oh, did I skip a day? I didn't skip like 10 days, did I? I hope I didn't. I have to go back and check that, but let me see something real quick. Yep. I think we did. Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah, tomorrow's 8 months, you guys. Ugh. Tomorrow marks 8 months of the journey to greatness. That means we only have 4 months left. 100 and what is that? 120, 4 and 12, 4 and 3, 120 days left, 4 months. So congratulations to everyone who's on this journey. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 5. Peace.